So welcome back to Man Cave TV. This is the first in a series we're going to do on reviews and drives of cars. We're going to do everything from new cars to classic cars, four-wheel drives, bikes, the lot. Today we're going to get out in this, a 1963 Studebaker Lark cruiser. It's a four-door V8, factory-fitted, right-hand drive New Zealand car. This was built in America, shipped out here, sold new. They were quite a top car in the day. There's a lot of features inside we'll show you, then we'll take you for a drive.
So the first thing you notice with these old 60s cars is the beautiful lines on them. They were always well sculpted and well shaped. They were never plain cars. They always had a lot of detail to them. And as you notice with the Studebaker, it's covered in chrome. There's just chrome everywhere. Wheat grills, the wheels, all the trim, bumpers. There's just chrome all over this car. What more could you want than chrome? Now when we look inside the car, again, they're quite well detailed. This is a Speedo Cluster. It has all the following attachments in it. So you've got a temperature gauge, a voltmeter, your fuel gauge, a clock, and the speedo in miles. We then move on to things like the stereo. It's an AM radio, as you can see, Studebaker embossed into it. You follow on to things like the upholstery. Beautiful upholstery, laid out, little detail things like the badge, Studebaker. Again, the back seat, armrest, and Studebaker badging. Again, this is the seat belt. A beautiful embossed gold badge on it. It's all these little finer details that made a nice car. Back of the seats, this was a big thing back in the day. 2 magazine/book holders, or tourist road maps, and an ashtray. Beautifully chromed again. Then, of course, a car like this, you're going to pick up the ladies. So what more could you like than the vanity glove box? You pop it open, you've got a compartment to hold your drinks on, you then open that, underneath there's some room for bits and pieces, and then you've got the vanity mirror. So basically more room for your makeup, etc., and you can put your mirror down for the ladies. Another feature this car had it was well known for is it has very low sills when the doors are open. So back in the 60s, ladies wore big full dresses. Getting in and out of this car made it a lot easier to pick up the ladies. Next we pop the bonnet, and underneath the bonnet we find a 259 cubic inch V8, or in the modern term 4.7 litre. It's 240 horsepower or 179 kilowatt. The car weighs about 1400 kg as a curb weight, so it will get along quite nicely.
So this is a 63 Studebaker. We got the privilege of taking it out for a drive now, so we'll just take it through town and then out onto the open road and see what it's like. Wow, straight away it sounds like a true V8. Let's see how we go. So it pulls away all right. It is a 3-speed manual, this one. First is very, very low. I've been told by the owner it's got no synchro mesh down into first. So you drive them in first to pull away and that's it. Basically it's got standard brakes for a car of the age. They're non-power assisted. So you just got to get used to that and drive it to the conditions. It's not a modern supercar, but it sounds beautiful and we'll see how it sits on the road. So once you're in second gear, it's actually quite smooth and nice to drive. And being a V8, it's quite torquey, so you can get up into third quite quickly. One thing to get used to quite quickly, the speedo's in mile per hour being an American car. So obviously you just got to be a bit careful whipping along that you're reading it in miles, not in kilometres. So we're just leaving town now. We're sitting on 50 kilometres an hour in top gear, down the bottom of the rev range, coming up to this 100 speed zone. So it is an older V8 car, it's not a supercar, but you put your foot down in top gear, it quite happily accelerates away. We're up to 100 kilometres an hour, 60 mile an hour now, no problem whatsoever in top gear. So it is only a 3-speed, but as you can see, for a cruising road car for driving on a Sunday, it still actually has quite a bit of get up and go. It's quite a rough bit of road this, it's well known to me. But it's a smooth enough ride for an older car. It's tracking nicely down the road. There's some corners coming up ahead, we'll see what it's like going through those. There's a lot of room in this car. It's not a big feeling car to drive, it doesn't feel like a big Falcon or anything like that on the road, but it's still a big car inside, like you'd comfortably sit 3 adults in the front of it. Like I say, there's a lot of room, but it doesn't have that huge car feel. You know you're driving a bigger, older car, but it just doesn't feel massive. So we're coming up to some corners now. I've driven through these lots of times. You comfortably sit on 100 in a modern car. This is just a wee light one here. 100 kilometers an hour. It just tracks nicely through them. Not a lot of body roll or anything you'd expect for some older cars. It's actually quite a nice tight drive. Now it is a warm night tonight. One thing I do like about old cars, the front windows. Kids these days wouldn't even recognise these. You break them open, this is your air conditioning. There is no aircon on these cars, but crack them open, wind comes in, and it's nice and cooling and relaxing. While we're filming though, we'll keep it closed just to keep the noise down a wee bit. It does make a bit of road noise when you open them up. So we've got some more corners coming up now. They are signposted at 85. I'm just sitting on 100 still. It's a nice dry night. There's no other traffic around. I know we can safely go around this corner at 100. And coming into a corner like this, the car doesn't duck or dive or anything. It just sits nicely around them like a bigger car should. It is over 50 years old, this car, but it still just tracks beautifully. They're obviously very well built in the day and well set up. What can I say? It's a nice drive for a Sunday. You get in this car, you'd pick your destination, you drive 2 or 3 hours with a couple of mates, have a bit of a barbecue, put all the cars in a park, let people look at them, just enjoy it. It's a driver's car. It's not a race car. It never will be. You could probably hot one up to get them going quite well. They're a good size V8 in them, but it's not that sort of car. It's covered in chrome. It's got nice lines. It's got great interior. It's the sort of car you just drive and enjoy. Let others enjoy by putting them on display. There's not a lot of these cars around now, so people need to drive them and enjoy them. Let others see them and use them what they're for. Enjoyment. They're a great car. And the more of these we can see restored and back on the road, the better. Hopefully we can find a few more cars like this. I quite like my cars from the 60s and the 70s and the early 80s. It was sort of the cars that I always wanted as a kid growing up. So hopefully we can get a few more of those out in review, see what else is out there, and we'll bring some more to you. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. And the 1963 Studebaker Lark, if I had the spare money to have one in the garage, I quite happily would. Beautiful piece of automobile.